we sell our great academics. We're a top 22-ish public academic institution. And then we sell the weather, right? And then I think globally though, Brooks, the way I view it is what is important to each kid, right? And we are who we are. And so each individual and the family, they've got to own their own process and they've got to decide what is important to them, right? And some kids, the tipping point could be the weather.
Yeah.
You know, some kids, the tipping point could be relationship with a coach.
Yep.
Sometimes it could be academics. I've got an opportunity to go to Stanford. I'm not turning that down, right?
Yeah.
And so you understand all of that, right? And so each kid, each family has to make the decision that is based on the criteria and the things that are most important to them and not to anyone else. Not important to me, not important to my assistants, not important to Sally, my club teammate. It is what is the most important thing to me, the player, right? And I've got to own that and be proud of that and be secure in that. And then a whole nother thing, right, is like I just shared with you, right? We had 6 commits and 3 will never step foot on campus, right? The landscape has changed, right? About 16 months ago, the NWSL draft went away.
Yep.
And so, our players are free agents, right? Whatever it is, right? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Our players are free agents, right? And so we had a player in August that was sought after by an NWSL club. She almost left on August 25th,
Wow.
3 weeks into our season, right?
Yeah.
We're dealing with this to this moment,
Yeah.
okay? That reality, okay? And so as a result, okay, our sport has been such that, football, I think is probably the biggest, the sport where this has occurred the most, where verbal commitments essentially mean nothing.
Yep.
Right? A kid is verbally committed to FSU, but they're taking official visits to LSU, Georgia, and Miami, right? And that is what it is, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we go more in that direction, right? Because, our kids that were committed here, right? NWSL clubs are recruiting them, right? And so it's my job to protect my program, our program, and continue to operate at the standard that we're operating at. And so even though a kid might be verbally committed somewhere else, I might recruit that kid.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? When we have NWSL clubs recruiting our kids. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Right? And I'm saying that right now, just openly and honestly. We all recruit differently. There are schools out there, like I told you before, that it comes down to the kid and what's important to the kid.
Okay.
And I have never put a deadline on a kid. Okay. That is not a right philosophy. That is just my philosophy, right? Because I don't ever want a kid to have regret. Okay. I don't want a kid to wake up one day and be like, what did I do? I don't want to go to Florida State. I don't want to go to Florida, right? Like that world's not for me. I'm a West Coast kid or I'm a Northeast kid. And I don't want to be that far from my mom, right? Cool. No problem. And there are programs out there that give kids 24-hour deadlines, right? Or give 48 or 72-hour deadlines to each her or his own, right? And so if that's how schools want to operate, that's their prerogative, right?